Hey everypony, DJ Smack Talk here, coming to you live from Radio Crackle. Just got an update about the situation of the Mawlers in Apocalypse. And so far, not only have they not been murdered, they're actually doing very well. They've already met with death, pestilence, and famine, and those meetings all went fairly well, as far as reports go. One person says they saw our favorite bomb, Philly Flotsam, playing with the local Raider kids, and then 3 of the Mawlers got wasted drunk in the middle of the day and are now getting treated by Apocalypse's doctors. Now, I don't know much about drinking, but I'm pretty sure that if you get totally plastered in a camp full of hostile raiders and don't get dead, that means things are going pretty well. Even if, the new war stumbled upon said drunk ponies and had to delay their meeting by a few hours as a result, whoops. At least, by the end of, hopefully the week, we will have the 4 horses on our side against the executive. That doesn't mean every pony in the maw shouldn't watch out for raiders, though. The 4 horses themselves may be weaker, but that's because the executive's caps are making a lot of the really bad ones jump ship. Now, maybe you're all hardened wastelanders and you're sick of me saying this, but I don't care, I'm going to say it again. Stay safe, keep watching. Smack Talk out. So yeah, as a reminder, 3 of the party members, Powderkeg, Zenkarn, and Firelight, for some reason that eludes me right now, they got really, really drunk in the middle of the day, and then Conquest stumbled upon them, and requested that Apocalypse's doctors give them a certain treatment, and after which they would, Conquest requested that the Dragon Mullers meet with them in about 3 hours or so. The treatment itself, Codeman is not here today, so Firelight's player is absent, but for Powderkeg and Zenkarn, the process that you go through under the doctor's care is this long series of medically induced purges, various injections, and drug-induced comas, like in a very rapid cycle, in order to, purge the alcohol and poison from your system as quickly as possible, and then get you back up on your hooves. It's painful to go through every step of the way for a grueling about 2.5 hours, but at the end of it, you're utterly clear-headed, in pain, kind of sore, but ultimately sober and somewhat refreshed. Yay!
Woohoo!
Let's see. Din's not here either, so Tibbs in here. As you come out from the doctors, Zenkarn.
Yep, I'm awake.
You notice that one of the Death Raiders is waiting outside the little sort of stall office thing that the doctors were using.
I wave slowly.
The Raider looks to you and says, "Death requests your presence briefly."
Oh, crap.
Are they suffering from the effects of hangover then?
It's not really a hangover. Stats have been taken to make sure they're rejuvenated after that. It's just the results of the process that Apocalypse's doctors put them through.
Yeah.
No.
You're just feeling just generally in pain and sore, but they're not having a hangover.
We have fucked up.
Oh,
I
hang on.
don't quite remember what I did, but I seem to remember drinking something I should not have.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you hear from inside the cart, "Yeah, you did!"
Shut up! Ow.
You actually, might as well say, Firelight seems to be having particular trouble, and the doctors say he'll be in there for a good while yet, so...
I turn to the Death Raider. I'm like, do you just want me, or do you want Powderkeg as well?
Just you for now.
Alright. Hey, Powder, can you go find the others? Tell them where I am. Something.
Yeah,
Also, I think you owe me money.
No, I don't.
Also, again, Din's not here, but, a Pestilence Raider gives, Tibbs, elsewhere in the camp, a Pestilence Raider comes up to Tibbs, who is presumably somewhere near Javolt and the rest of the party, and says Pestilence requests his presence as well, and I presume he goes off because that seems like a reasonable thing he'd do. But yes, back to Zenkarn and the Death Raider.
Yep, I'll just follow him.
All right. The Death Raider leads you towards Death's command tent, and just stands outside the main door flap and gestures for you to go inside.
I very slowly and stiffly brush myself off as best as I can before I go in.
All right. The inside of the tent is very, very dark, and almost a little cold, actually. And as soon as the flap closes behind you, you feel something kind of take a hold of you in a very odd and feeling ethereal way.
Ah, crap.
And you see Death donning his black robes, just glaring down at you. And
you said you wanted to see me? Ow.
from somewhere out of your vision, you can see his scythe kind of glint, and he says, "Did you, or anyone in your group, tell any pony about my secret?"
Hang on.
And
Wait, what?
Roll Arcana.
Oh, crap. 18. Boom, boom, boom. 33.
33. You sense that Death is maintaining some magical grip on your very soul, and you're actually strong enough that you could probably shake it off if you wanted to, but basically, he's in some way compelling you to speak the truth.
Alright, then I'll look at it and be like, I told no one, and to my knowledge, neither did anyone else.
You feel the cold grip on your heart loosen a bit, and Death just sighs and flips back his hood, and then he shakes his head. I want you to make sure that no one else from the Dragon Maulers spoke to any pony else about the secret I shared with you at Skyfall.
I can try. Got any tips? Because if someone's done it, they're not exactly going to tell me willingly, and I can't. Well, I've got one ability that lets me to force people to tell the truth, but nothing I can do every day. It's kind of hard.
Death seems to think about this for a bit. Then he heads over to one side of the tent, and it's a little hard to see, but with your previous Arcana score check, you see the air kind of shimmer around the spot that Death seems to be inspecting in the shape of some kind of compartment. And from it, Death seems to pull almost out of nothing, but you can see the sort of shimmering space. You see him pull out some kind of totem with skulls adorned over it, this wooden totem. And he walks over to you with it. "I'll let you borrow this. It will amplify your abilities a little bit, specifically for the purpose of, well, manipulating living souls.
Yes!
As soon as you're done speaking with the rest of the Maulers, I want you to return it.
I can do that.
This is a very powerful artifact. I don't trust it to just any pony."
Understandable. But I'll try and get back to you as quickly as I can.
He just kind of gives you a flat stare and he says, "I'll know if you try to abuse it, so try not to. I know it's tempting."
I'll do my best.
There's a bit of a silence as he just looks very worried, and he says, "Go."
I give a sort of small salute, and I walk out of the tent. And to go find everyone else. Yay!
Alright. The rest of you, I guess, I don't know, I should probably inquire as to, I haven't really decided what the rest of you have been doing in the, several hours that you've been waiting.
Well, I know Powder Keg just went and tried to find everyone else.
Alright. Revolt and Tempered Steel and Flotsam, where do you think y'all are?
Flotsam has been bouncing around in a terribly good mood since hearing the radio broadcast earlier, and is probably interested in looking at some of the weapons, armor they have for sale.
So
Yeah, just
begins
seeing what
the
kind of tech.
rise of Warrior Billy Flotsam.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that. The sort of weaponsmiths and armory tents naturally are pretty, locked down and under pretty tight security from really all four of the Four Horses Raiders. Everyone's posting guards there. but generally from what you can see from within the sort of locked containers, it's a whole number of melee weapons, some of them marked enchanted for some reason. There's also a fairly somewhat sizable supply of just guns and whatnot that, from the looks of it, haven't been fired at all, but are just being kept around as storage, apparently. And
Hey,
beyond that, also some robotic parts as well.
Okay,
Looks like
Javolt is going to
salvaged.
leap robotic parts.
What?
Javolt walks up to the robotic stand and starts examining.
There is a rather scrawny-looking war raider that's manning that part of the tent, and he just looks at you and says, "Yes."
Well, Javolt is browsing. I am simply observing your wide selection of technology. How much magic is used in this technology?
Oh, I'd say a fair amount.
Oh.
But if we could get it working again, it'd be pretty useful to have these as, fighting robots at the very least.
they're not working now. Watson pops up next to Javolt.
The war pony looks at you two and says, Don't you guys have a meeting with Conquest coming up?"
Well, that's not for a few hours. And besides, just because they were designed to operate with magic doesn't mean they need it.
No, that thought has crossed my mind too.
Hey,
you
where'd
mind
you
if-
scavenge these from?
Actually, we got it from, Machine Curse area. Bunch of, robotic stuff crawling around there. Managed to break some of them and bring them back here where the curse doesn't apply.
Ooh.
Won't be much use until we get rid of that curse, but, if we can get them working and use them.
So the machine curse didn't cause them to stop operating, it just caused them to,
Operate poorly, as it were, yeah.
Do you mind if I take a look at some of this?
You're that crazy doctor ponies have been talking about, right?
There are multiple crazy doctors in our group. You'll have to, be
The
clear.
mad scientist?
Actually, one of them is a psychotic doctor, and the other one is a surprisingly sane doctor. So I think you're the crazy doctor.
Oh, really? It's good to know.
Mhm.
Well, yes, I am the scientist who is technically sane, but since nobody ever seems to understand my points, I come off as crazy.
Or a megalomaniac, but that's neither here nor there, apparently. Whatever, you're the pony I'm referring to. And I gotta say,
I'm a donkey.
letting you
It's a generic term.
person, he just kind of gives you a flat look. Person I'm looking for. And I don't know, these are my projects at the moment. Trying to get them refurbished for the war cult. Letting you near them kind of makes me nervous, you understand?
I just want to see how the curse operates. These, he taps his goggles, these are replacements. If I am going to head into that area, I don't want to suddenly become blind.
You might have a problem there. Now, the curse isn't working on these things anymore, and they're broken besides. You look at the table and whatever, they're somewhat intact. You can tell the shape of the mechs they once were, but they're nowhere near operational right now.
Would there be some sort of curse residue? Or is that not your speciality?
He thinks about that for a second. Well, no, it's not my specialty. I suppose, anyone from the death gang, someone who's magically inclined, they can detect some sort of something on it, but, from what I've heard, never more than just, hey, there was a curse here.
Well, I've made it my life's work to spread technological development across the Maw, and in order to do that, I have had to understand how...
You've been in the Maw all your life?
No, I'm sorry. The wastes. It's become rather confusing. You know how it is. Territory. What's the point? It's all just land.
Well, there are actually several points to it, mostly as points of reference, and also...
The point is, I know how technology and magic interact. I could be considered very much knowledgeable about this sort of thing. And I think I might be willing to examine this and see if there's anything that
To be fair, it's not exactly a wide field of knowledge. You could have encountered something like this exactly once and still be considered very knowledgeable.
Mm-hmm. Tell me, which one of these is your most recent acquisitions?
He looks down, then looks up again. All of them.
No, I mean...
You got them all at the same...
Yes, this is our first big break.
Ah. And you're saying you broke them all?
Well, yes.
Presumably you had to break them into parts to transport them more easily.
Of course. I had to deactivate them so they'd stop trying to kill us.
Yeah.
Did you deactivate them with any finesse, or...
No,
That's a no.
No. No, just used weapons and spells to break them apart. Naturally, that does present a challenge in trying to reconstruct them.
Yeah.
But we tried to... Alright, well, we did try to just disable them at first, but didn't work as well as we'd hoped. They'd still be kind of operational and still try to use their weapons on us. Sometimes just exploding them just so we'd get near the blast. So we tried to use finesse, but ultimately we found that our normal way worked better. Otherwise we might not have come back with anything at all.
Have you tried
active mechanics and magic users? Once the curse is taken care of, you should be able to. What have you got here anyway?
Have you tried activating any of these now that they're outside the cursed area?
Oh, I've been trying to get them working again. It's taking a little while.
I do believe I could assist with that.
Javalt?
Yes?
Small thing. We're not technically all on the same side yet.
Whoa, yeah, you went robot super hard.
God damn. You guys carry on without me. Flotsam's going to go look at the guns. I'm going to relocate.
Okay. So Flotsam stops mid-sentence and,
It's like, nope,
and,
not getting involved in this one.
Or just gets distracted by some really cool, awesome energy weapon somewhere over elsewhere. So Javolt, carry on.
Hey, look, that looks really explosive.
Alright, I'm going to take this one, he pokes at the smallest robot, and see if I can get it working. I'll be right here in front of you, you know.
Very well.
So, do I...
Roll mechanics.
Alrighty then. Rolling
You
mechanics. What did I roll?
20.
Yeah, okay. Good.
So as you start tinkering with this rather heavily damaged Mr. Handy, you find a number of sort of fried electronics to deal with, but you're able to sort of solder together just a very, very basic working version, at least enough to get power going, and you manage to not really like fully repair it to the point where it has any of its old functionality, but you're able to at least get the power on. You're able to wire it so that Mr. Handy can be turned on. Not exactly, that it does anything, but there's power. Engines are whirring. Lights are blinking.
Hello in there! Can you hear me?
The Mr. Handy does not respond.
Oh,
to be fair, the pony at the stall seems rather impressed. Like, well, didn't expect that out of you.
I made these cybernetics myself, after the explosion.
Sure, whatever. But, not much use of us right now, until we get at a more intact circuit board.
Well, you could always try taking circuit boards from these other robots.
Considered that, they're also in very similar states.
How many of these robots do you want activated?
As many as we can manage. This is a salvage operation.
If these talks go down in the way that I expect them to go down, you might be able to negotiate with some of the Skyfall or Steel Ranger types to help repairs. Actually, this could be very useful in Skyfall.
Wouldn't the Steel Rangers just want to take the tech for themselves anyway?
Not the band that's around here. There's
What, they're good Steel Rangers?
I'm not one to judge the morality of any group. But they are fairly lenient Steel Rangers, especially now that they have a young new member. Javolt giggles to himself.
Oh, what?
Oh, nothing, it's a private joke.
Well, I think you've done enough for now. I'll see what I can do with the rest.
If you do have any remnants of the curse, let me know. I really do want to look at that.
I'll go drop by the Arcanists, see what I can do.
Alright.
But basically, machine curse works the way we were always told it was. Makes electronics not really shut down, but work in unexpected ways, sometimes very small, sometimes very significant.
Ah, so I might not go blind then.
Something else might happen to those goggles. I don't know, the curse seems to like catching people off guard, if nothing else.
Yes, most curses do.
Well, I don't know. I haven't run into a whole lot of curses outside the mob, but most of them aren't supposed to be, reactionary.
Well, yes. Did I ever tell you about my encounter with the, Fool's Gold curse? No, wait, I wouldn't.
I've really lost interest at this point.
Okay, Javolt starts regaling him with the tale of how he ticked off Glaurung.
And the pony just kind of slowly but surely just kind of buries his head in his hooves.
Meanwhile,
I'm back now.
Hey, thought some.
Do I sound a bit better? I've
You
moved
do,
to a
actually.
different room.
So Javolt sort of repaired Mr. Handy, basically got the power on, but not much else, and is now regaling the poor war pony with tales of his conquests over Glaurung and whatnot.
At which point, Flotsam, this is possibly needless to ask, but does the pony Javolt is talking to look like he'd maybe rather not be regaled with tales about Glaurung?
As time passes, he kind of slowly, his head drifts towards his hooves to just kind of bury himself in there.
At this point, Flotsam, who had been distracted by the guns and kind of trying to figure out how they could be made to work again once the gunsmith curse had been lifted, Cactus sight of this, flies over and kind of says, "Sorry to interrupt, Javolt, we should probably be finding the others round about now, don't you think?"
oh, well, I mean, I suppose that would be...
Yes, it sounds like a very good idea.
Thanks
What was your
for
name
help.
again?
It's Gearhead.
Gearhead. Really, Gearhead.
Yes.
That is an awesome name. Can I
explain
come
your
and look
main
at the
style.
robots again sometime?
Sure.
Flotsam beams at him, then tries to lead Javolt away.
Oh, yes. Ah! Powder Keg, there you are!
There we go, sure. Powdered Keg, as
Well,
you look for the others, yeah.
There we go. Hey, y'all.
Did you have a nice time in the drunk tank?
No, I was painful. I don't even know what the fuck I was thinking. I drank a Molotov cocktail, apparently.
What? Those are for throwing.
Yeah,
Why do you call them cocktails if they're for throwing?
I don't know.
Because it's a mixture.
I think
I
I
don't
drank
know.
one of those once. It wasn't very tasty, but it had quite a kick, so...
I'm not surprised. In the slightest.
Alright.
Experimentation!
What has Tempered Steel been doing?
I think that he has been examining Glaurung's book of marks that he's been carrying around and seeing if the whole insane number of pages thing is inherent in the book or was some magic related to the life and death of Glaurung.
Oh, right. That was so long ago.
Yes, it was. And he is still carrying that thing around.
Well, I mean, it's kind of the way of, campaigns for PCs to carry around a lot of junk. But
he's trying to see whether it has a limited number of pages now, or if they
seems to be an enchanted tome. Pages. There are more pages than should be physically possible.
But the number of pages but it's not something that's directly related to Glaurungs.
It wasn't tied to his life force, no.
Okay. Then figuring that out, Tempered Steel is going to see if he can find a good pen somewhere in this place.
Oh man, that could be interesting. Probably. You'd probably have to ask around a lot.
Well, he's got a pencil, but, figured pen would probably be better if he could. So, yes. He will ask around.
Roll streetwise to find a pen.
Okay, what is my streetwise? Street smarts. I have a 7. I've got a 10 on that.
You ask around, but no one you'd speak to seems to have a really nice working pen with ink. You do find one who has a pen, but says it hasn't really worked in forever.
Well, is the problem with the pen, is the pen just like a dead pen, or?
Quick, get Zenkarn.
Wait, you can't see me doing the trigger fingers. Oh. Well played.
No, if it comes down to it, he'll just use one of the pencils he's been carrying around.
Actually,
Why
someone
would you go
suggested...
looking for a pen if you have pencils?
Because a pen would be better to write with in this situation.
For permanence.
Well,
Mm,
that,
yes.
and it looks better since I've decided he's going to he's going to transition the Book of Marks into a journal of the hijinks that have happened from the Dragon Maulers.
Yeah, apparently Aurelia got a journal a long time ago, this old book.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
So she's probably been recording some of this.
Brilliant.
Would she potentially have a pen?
She might, actually.
I think Flotsam does, because she may have stolen one from Tibbs.
Well, although, I suppose he will go and ask he will try and find the other members of the party to ask if any of them might have a pen he could have. So yes, he will start searching for other members of the party.
So, yeah, Tempered Steel kinda, I guess you can look around for the others. He shows up with, near the rest of you guys carrying this big book and asking about a pen.
Well, he puts the book back in his bag, but he's still, so you don't see him carrying it around. But yes, he's
carrying his pack, and yeah.
Yes.
So you can eventually find the rest of the party pretty quickly.
And he will ask each of them if they have a pen he could have as he finds them.
Well, group's kind of, there's Powder Keg and Javolt and Flotsam. Zenkarn will probably be back at this point as well.
Alright, well, I'll turn up. So the whole group's together at this point?
I'd say so, except
Firelight.
No, yeah,
Firelight.
except all the people who are, too busy being drunkards.
Din's here now.
I have 2 questions.
Oh, is Din here now?
Yeah,
I
Din's
saw him.
been back for a little while, but I don't know if he's up to talking.
1, do any of you have a pen I could use? And 2, where's Firelight?
Firelight's in the drunk tank, and I don't know, would Zenkarn have a pen?
I found it funny. He's the only one of us who didn't drink the fucking Molotov cocktail. He's the one most messed up by it.
Wait, what's this about drinking a Molotov?
Don't ask questions.
Did you?
They cut off our booze, and in my drunken, addled mind, I decided that a Molotov cocktail contained enough alcohol to be useful.
You
You
two
know
have
what
been a
I
bad
have?
influence on him, haven't
You
you?
guys are worse than me.
And
Well,
we
that's
are a good example of why you don't want to start drinking, Flotsam.
I would do it properly.
Role models to not live by.
See, I only tried a cocktail Molotov once that I
Firelight.
can remember.
In all seriousness, though, would Zenkarn carry a pen?
That's for you to decide. Either way works.
Yeah, sure. It seems like something Zenkarn would have on him. Probably something he nicked from the library and forgot to give back when he was writing up the stuff with Chico.
I would not put it past you guys to just be stealing office supplies all the time.
Well, you
No,
know how it
but
is
yeah.
when you
Yeah,
play
Javolt
ball.
has a
Anything
whole
that isn't
bunch
nailed
of
down
paper
is
clips.
yours.
That's how he does all his electronics.
Yeah, makes sense.
Come on. Who else has played a good character in Fallout who took everything that wasn't nailed down?
I'm doing that currently, including some guy's clothes.
Took everything that wasn't marked red as stealing.
No, I took everything that was marked red, even. I took everything. I'm still good, because in the game systems, giving the
just
guy
pay
a
people
water
to make
bottle makes you a bigger moral paragon than stealing. Like, you can
Anyway,
blow up...
Anyway.
I'll reach into my saddlebags, root around for a bit, and hand Tempered Steel a pen.
Are you going to need this back, or can I just hold on to it?
You can hold on to it. I'm sure I can borrow another one.
Thank you.
Which reminds me, I'll look at Flotsam, and I'll be like, hey Flotsam, do you want to go for a walk? Just hang out for a bit before the meeting?
Yeah, sure.
You've got a little bit of time before the meeting, but, it's coming up on it now.
Yeah. Alright, won't be too long.
Alright.
So I'll wander off with Flotsam.
Alright.
As soon as they're out of earshot of anyone, what's this about?
I have to ask you stupid questions.
Oh boy.
So, when you were, when me and Powder and Firelight were busy.
Drinking without me.
Yes, drinking without you. What did you get up to?
I played baseball. I got to play with the other foals. There's only a few of them, but we still had enough for 2 teams. And they didn't want to play with me at first, but Tips kind of made them, and I felt kind of bad about that. But then we had fun together, and it was actually like a really cool game to play. And I think I might get to hang out with them some more, maybe.
Oh, that sounds good. Glad you've been having fun.
Yeah.
You didn't notice, I don't know, Tibbs or Devolt having conversations with anyone while you were, busy, did you?
I don't think there were really anyone to have conversations with except each other. I mean, like, it was some of the foals and me and Tibbs and Javolt, and no. No, I didn't. Why do you ask?
Oh, just got apparently some information leaked from someone in our group, and I mean, I know you didn't do it.
Information?
I mean, you didn't.
You're gonna have to tell me what information if... Huh?
Scanner, I'll scan this, but can I just scan the area? Is there anyone around?
You could just tell me mentally.
I could just tell you mentally, but still, I probably will.
Yeah.
But
yeah, just basic
unicorns.
scan of the area. Doesn't look like there's any pony within earshot.
Alright, I'll mental link up with Flotsam in that case. And I'll be like, Death told me that somebody's potentially gotten word of his secret, and it was spilled by one of us.
Flotsam's eyes widen. She almost, she says, "Oh," out loud, but fortunately does not say anything else out loud and just mental links back. Well, that's terrible. But how could... I mean, none of us would... But is he going to be okay? Does someone have his... You know what? I mean, is he in danger? Is he going to die?
I don't know currently. That's what I'm trying to find out. So I kind of need to just talk to everyone privately and see what I can find.
Do you want me to talk to anyone, or is it better if you do it?
No. I'll do it. I've got some. I give a glance down to my my saddlebags. He's given me some truth insurance. Let's put it that way.
Ooh. Okay, but how can he tell it was us? I mean, I'm not saying it wasn't. I mean, I hope it isn't.
I don't know. All he said, all the information he gave was somebody knows about his secret, and that he wants me to double check that none of us told anyone anything.
Okay, sounds like, though, that it might not be us, so I hope he's looking into other possibilities as well. This could be really bad.
He looked really pissed when I saw him, like to the point where he was, that soul thing I can do to get information out of people? Yeah, that was as soon as I entered the room, so...
He is pretty sure it's us, then. Okay.
I think he's just panicking, though to be fair, I would be too if I was him.
Uh-huh. Well, you'll be okay, I'm sure. You got your truth thing, so just let me know if you need any help, okay?
Oh,
and I won't tell anyone about this.
Thanks. I mean, if you can think of an easy way of getting all the party by themselves for me to talk to, that would be great, but we'll figure something out.
I'll let you know.
It's at this point it's time to meet with Conquest at long last. And
God.
All right then.
as the time approaches, a couple of heavily armored war raiders seek you out to gather you all up and escort you to War's command tent, which is probably the most grandly decorated of them all. Just this very sharp red with gold trim, and just seems to have the most furnishings of it all.
Or lives in style. Or Conquest lives in style.
Well, I mean, it was War's tent originally, so.
Flotsam has made sure to put on her armor and has actually cleaned it a bit beforehand, so she looks extra smart and battle ready.
Ah.
Well, as she deems appropriate for going to see someone whose thing is war. So.
Powder keg is just powder keg.
Yep.
No, really?
Nobody else makes any form
He's
of effort.
put on his best tie for the occasion.
His
He
only
always
tie.
wears.
Tempered Steel has also put in no special effort to prepare himself for this meeting.
To the
You guys
surprise
all
of
suck.
to the surprise of no one, Dally's the only one who cares about decorum.
I'll put down.
Oh, and Javolt, to be fair.
Javolt has rubbed his claw through his mane in a futile attempt to comment.
Oh, okay. So you reach the tent, and the guards gesture for you to head inside.
All right. Well,
Tibbs is dressed in Pestilence clothing, which is, nice, scary, but nice. It's official in a certain sense. You head inside, and the inside looks as sharp as the outside did. It's actually quite well lit. There's a nice plush carpet, at the floor on the floor of the tent. And inside, you see the sort of big frame of Conquest. Not with his armor on, his full armor. He's got this sort of light barding on, and he's washing his face in front of a mirror. He seems to have gone through some effort recently. He's kind of sweating a bit, and he kind of looks vaguely in your direction as you enter, and he says, "Ah, Mawlers, welcome. Come on in."
hello.
Thank you for
Wave.
seeing us.
Yo.
What the? It's when you. I'm gonna talk about that later. Anyway, you wanted to talk.
Feeling better now, Powder Keg, Zenkarn.
Yeah.
Better is a relative term.
Oh,
About that. Sorry about that. It was a bit of a celebration after a
I have
victory.
to wonder what. I was going to say I have to wonder what series of events led up to that, but
I wasn't there to supervise them.
We had a conversation with Famine, if that helps.
well,
Mm.
the whole camp knows about your breakfast with Famine, mostly because of the ironic joke that it sets up. But
Was kind of ironic.
so yes, he steps up to face Powder Keg in particular. So, the War Killer.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure what to do with you. War was an old pony, and I don't know. I was his second.
Mm-hmm.
He raised this group from the ground up and taught us all the ways of the warrior, and you struck him down. But at the same time, it also feels like it was his choice.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like he was somewhat weary, if not of battle, then just, I don't know, the challenges of war in general. See, I was his second, but while War dealt with, maintaining the rituals of our tribe, I was focused on logistics and intelligence. I was the pony behind the pony, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
But War never let any pony close, so it's hard to say what exactly he was thinking when he accepted your challenge and chose not to come back when death offered to revive him. But
Mystery he'll take to his grave, I suppose.
But he must have known that the war gang would be in good hands with you. Otherwise, he would have come back to look after you. So he must trust you a lot.
I can only hope so. So, I suppose in my eyes, I don't see you as the War Killer, but the pony War chose to give him one last fight, and I have to respect that, even if not everybody in this group does.
It's a fair judgment.
Well, it's not really fair. It's actually quite biased and emotional. Probably the wrong decision, but...
Well, it sounds very reasonable to me.
It's been a very, very interesting week, starting with War's death and bringing us here, joining the ranks of, to us, were 3 demigods, joining their ranks as just a mortal pony. And now dealing with the first major decision, both for my gang, but for all the 4 horses as well. And then dealing with all this intrigue as well.
Intrigue?
Yes, so I'll get to that. Basically, here's how I see the current situation, if you'll indulge me for a moment.
Certainly.
Lotsam sits down cross-legged on the floor, as best as he can.
This deal with the executive, what it means is that we're on the verge of a very, very large, large engagement. We're on the verge of a war, basically. A war against the executive.
Sounds like something right up your alley.
It's a funny thing. The war has always been more about the warrior culture as a way to better oneself rather than, the actual brutal tactics and logistics of the actual conflict. I suppose that's what war saw coming, and perhaps he didn't want any part of it, but I guess I'm more suited to it. Doesn't mean I'm looking forward to it, though. Our way of life, though, born of conflict, had been, we'd been content. And now all of our skills and training and way of life is about to be put to the test. And there's part of us that doesn't want that. And certainly part of us that is excited, chomping at the bit. But basically, this choice between taking the executive's deal and rejecting him for you instead, that's the choice between a short peace or a long war.
Well,
but taking the executive's deal, by all accounts, and certainly, I understand you've had plenty to say about it. That's basically asking for a knife in the back.
It's not asking for it. It's basically accepting the knife in your back. All you have to do is wait for him to twist it.
So, it is my opinion, and of this I'm actually quite resolute, that this war, this conflict, is going to be inevitable. Might as well do our best to get it started.
And by, getting it started now rather than after you've made an attempt to get rid of us, it means you've technically got us as allies to help you fight him.
Yes, but we're also going to start fighting our own instead of having a chance to get them back first.
Well, I mean, you'd probably be inevitably...
But yes, starting this war off on the right hoof.
If they left you, do you really think you'll be able to get them back?
Did they leave willingly?
No, many of them were scared by you.
What if we could get them back?
That doesn't seem likely. Either they've fled entirely, and the ones who've stayed are, now that we're no longer a profitable option, or powerful option, they're going for the money and power that the executive offers instead.
But
we always knew that was, part of the draw for joining up with our gangs. But,
I guess, but...
the only ones now are the ones who, truly believe in our ways of life here.
Well, moving forward, who do you want to keep close? The ones who truly believe, or the ones who just in it for power?
In the long term, our worry is whether this way of life can be sustained, if we'll eventually succumb to the ravages of history. If eventually we'll either run out of resources or faith, or just our lineage will die out. We've had this tribe going strong for many decades. Well,
and there you say tribe.
Well, yes, Death and Pestilence have, run their 4 horses tribes idea by me, and I can see how that might work. But for me, this decision is more about the conflict at hoof rather than, potential future symbiosis, as it were. But I'll take that symbiosis if it means we can get through this conflict alive.
Well,
I wish we knew
conflict with The conflict with the executive, as you said, is inevitable. If you go along with what we've been trying to get going, the tribes, and everything, the way I see it, all you've got is more allies. Because when the war with the
more
executive...
allies, but less power.
Maybe. Less power when you war with the executive? Oh no. If you war with the executive after he's done using you, and trust me, that will happen, you're gonna have less power. He's going to have managed to sway even more your people into his side. Or he might even just blow a whole lot of them up in some raid or something. You know, send them off on some job, put a nuclear missile bomb left over from some war somewhere, and let it blow up. Kill them all, then you've got no soldiers.
Lots of looks distressed.
That's the importance of intel at that point, but...
There's the whole point that power in and of itself is not
the be-all and
effective.
end-all.
It's how you use that power that's important.
That's what I believe as well.
There's also something to be said for keeping a low profile. If you're not as powerful, you'll have less ponies coming after you, hopefully.
It's all about the transition, you see. Going from one of the largest gangs, the reigning power in the Maw, to just humble tribes. It's a hard transition for everybody involved. Perhaps easier for those who were dedicated to the lifestyle to begin with, but it's still a hard decision. We enjoyed, living in what it counts as the lap of luxury, as far as raiders go.
And hurting ponies?
Yes, and hurting ponies. To
Who says you
maintain
can't
control.
still? You know,
Well, that wouldn't be the right way to go moving forward, would it?
I don't mean the herding ponies, I mean the living in the lap of luxury. Just because you're no longer bullying everyone into giving them everything you want, doesn't mean that you can't still get what you want. There's other avenues. In fact, avenues that actually get people willingly giving you stuff.
We
Well,
can't,
I
we
see
can't
it, your
be an
whole
entire
tribe is-
tribe of adventurers.
Not adventurers, no. Mercenaries, guards, soldiers for hire.
Yes, another mercenary band to fill the wasteland with mercenary bands.
Well,
We're not saying it's definitely going to happen, but I think what Powder's trying to say is there's a possibility, you know? But it's good that you're prepared for it being a bit of a step down from what you're used to, I mean. I think it's a step up in terms of cohabiting with other ponies, personally.
At the end of the day, it's a necessity.
Exactly.
So, I think we're basically on the same side then.
sure seems like it.
And I don't think any pony in my camp really, at least any pony who knew war, half as well as I did, really holds a grudge against you.
Some of them certainly do, though.
Absolutely. But we also believe it was honorable combat, and we believe that deserves some respect. Even if we may hate, a pony may hate another pony for other reasons, but not for besting war and honorable combat, not for that.
Oh, there's plenty to hate us.
Absolutely. So that's the situation, that's my stance on it. But even before we decide on the executive, there's another pressing matter. And that's to do with our wild child of the four horses.
Oh, famine.
Yes.
Blossom pulls a face.
Pulls a face?
Thanks. Just looks disgusted.
I understand that your talk with him at breakfast went fairly well.
Relatively
Better than I
something.
expected.
I think it went okay.
I mean, it sounds like it sounds like he's swaying towards going along with it, but, can't be, I mean, I suppose it'd be stupid to say that we're absolutely certain he's on board.
Problem is, I don't think that Famine has in any way halted or slowed his schemes since that talk.
Oh, well, of course not.
And I don't know if I think he's still gunning for trying to make sure we go for the executive's deal, because he's also staring down the barrel of a all-out war with the executive if this doesn't go well. And certainly with, the knife already in his back, he'll be the first one that it twists into.
I don't know.
And here we thought we'd given him such a good argument, but, I can't be surprised. He certainly did make it seem like he wasn't
I don't know. He seemed
intent on.
I wasn't there. All all I've got is my intelligence and my hearsay. Maybe you can still convince him, but... Alright, he, towards, one end of, the tent there is a table, out of which he slides out this, sort of wooden panel with this map drawn on it, this map of the Maw, and he sets it upon the table, and gestures for you to come around. He starts placing down, orange markers, troop markers, around certain places of the Maw. He places them down a bit, south of Apocalypse and to the west, and says, "We saw some cultists hanging around here where, well, presumably Death's, phylactery is supposed to be."
Wait, what? I give him a look when he says that.
Which means, well,
What
some pony leaked his
thing?
secret.
Yeah, I gathered.
I understand he had a very interesting talk with you.
That's one way of putting it. Who did you hear it from?
Well, I heard it from my own scouts.
Fantastic.
Well, I mean, okay, so are we referring to the secret or the event at hand here? I
secret.
know because, well, all the four horses themselves know.
Wait, what is this thing we're talking about?
We'll have a conversation about it later, trust me. Sorry, do continue.
But yes, Famine knows, Pestilence knows, and I know.
Fair enough. Alright.
But yes, some cultists were spotted around here. And also, he places some more markers down towards the southeastern, edge of the Maw, somewhere near Ribcage. And he says, some of our raiders that now belong to the executive, they were spotted here at the Charred Grove. This particularly nasty, foul and irradiated wooden area near Ribcage, where it's said that there's a rare poisonous material known as nightmare root.
Okay.
So, I don't suppose Pestilence has spoken with any of you yet. And he has with Tibbs, and I wish we could roleplay that scene if Din was able to speak. But basically, the gist of it is, Pestilence suspects that he has somehow inhaled the fumes of nightmare root.
What is nightmare root?
Nightmare root is particularly strange and magically based plant. If you inhale the fumes, as I understand it, if you burn it and you inhale the fumes, it gets into your system. You basically, from what I understand, you have terrible nightmares for 3 days, and on the morning of the third day, you die.
Well, that sounds horrible.
And for whatever reason, Pestilence seems to suspect that he might have been poisoned by that. So, Death is now worried that his phylactery is in danger, and Pestilence is now worried that he might have been poisoned. Which...
Okay, I can finally talk.
Hey!
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry it took so long.
No problem.
So,
You had things.
I'm back.
Oh, and Lapis is back, apparently. So, to recap the last few minutes of discussion, cultists have been...
We could actually have Din do that conversation now that he's here. Hello?
Yeah?
Yeah,
Do we want to still do that? Because I kind of glossed over it.
I'm fine with either way. If
Okay,
it doesn't really bother me.
so fractured tibia. During the sort of at some point during the 3-hour wait while you were waiting for powder kegs and Corn and Firelight to sober up. Firelight still hasn't sobered up for some reason, but during that time, you were called in to see Pestilence, and basically what he asked you to do was to inspect the charred remains of this particular herb he had been smoking recently, the previous day, and in it you would have found kind of the charred remains of this little black root-like thing with this blue vein going through it, and Pestilence would have said that it might be nightmare root, and he would have told you in person that the previous night he had a terrible nightmare, and now he's concerned that he might have been poisoned so soon after his previous trial with the leech that you noticed earlier. He's still weak. Normally you wouldn't be worried about any poison, but he paces himself.
Right.
Taking something so reportedly deadly so soon after his previous trial, it presents a risk.
All right. Well, Guess it's time to see what kind of healing chemicals Tibbs can whip up. Okay.
He did send the little piece that you found to some of the other doctors to try and analyze it to make sure it absolutely is nightmare root.
Well, whatever little piece he can hold on to, Tibbs will most assuredly be doing that.
Okay. So, yes, and Conquest has just been explaining that, some of the executive, traitorous raiders were spotted in that area by some of Conquest's scouts. So, the intel seems to align that these events might have happened. That, yes, Death's phylactery is in danger, and yes, Pestilence has been poisoned.
So, the one thing running through Tibbs' mind at the moment is blackmail, blackmail, blackmail. After Conquest has finished talking and it's kind of open for discussion, Tibbs is going to say, out of curiosity, I haven't been keeping up, mate. Is there any pony that might be Famine's number 2?
Famine has a sort of couple of ponies that work directly under.
Guys, seriously, if they don't let us just kill Famine at this point, really.
Yeah, I don't know.
If he's trying to blackmail them, then there's kind of all brotherhood bets are off. You're gonna die, motherfucker. I know you're trying to make us hate Famine, but I mean, his death is going to make War's death and Blue Moon's death and everything else I've killed's death look like I was taking them for a walk in the park. No,
I don't think
I'm going to blow him up, and then I'm going to blow up all those chunks. Then I'm going to gather those chunks, have one of our medical people revive him, blow that up, and then blow up all those chunks. Then burn all those chunks.
Sorry to burst your bubble, but Flotsam already called dibs.
After Flotsam kills him once, we'll do that.
We'll all form a line.
We're gonna revive him so we can kill him twice.
Yes! Necromancy practice!
Tibbs is going to ask for a list of the names of the number 2s. If that's possible.
Well, I already had a thing or two in mind with them, but first I just want to throw in my perspective on this. I don't know about you guys, but Conquest says, I don't really have any proof for this, but I don't think that these threats are actually genuine. The cultist scouts near Death's hidden phylactery, there were no unicorns among them, and they weren't carrying anything explosive. I doubt they actually know anything about, the phylactery's, the nature of the hidden location or how to even get in. I think they're just scouting there because they were told to be scouting there. As for the nightmare route, I mean, they wouldn't have to collect much, but it's a very dangerous process. The charred grove is, always alight in some way or another. It'd be dangerous to collect the root without inhaling some of the fumes yourself. Almost more trouble than it's worth, especially to poison a pony who might end up being immune to it anyway.
So you're saying he's bluffing?
Yeah, although I'm not sure then what's in his hoof then, if that's his bluff.
The others know him better. If you notice, he hasn't taken something super much against you, though it could be just a matter of time. But from what I can tell, it doesn't seem like he's trying to actually kill him. He's not even trying to threaten them with the threat of these things. Instead, he's showing them he knows he can get things through.
So, distraction.
That kind of threat of, I want you to find out that this happened, because it shows you that I can slip through the cracks.
Yeah, well, I guess I'm just waiting for him to try something with me then.
My honest assumption? My honest feeling? Sucker's gonna get killed at some point.
Well,
if it ain't us, it's gonna be the executive.
The two options in my mind were either convince him to cease with your shenanigans and just go with the plan, which you seem to be making progress on, or kill him and find a replacement. And at that point, the game is on.
Now, there's something I noticed about Famine and his seconds. And maybe you can back me up on this, but they ain't quite right. There's something forced in their behavior.
At this point, based on it's just anecdotal evidence, but I think we can just take it as truth that Famine has become proficient at some kind of direct control type of magic.
Anecdotal. I look over at the rest of the Mawlers and I look back at Conquest. No, we've seen him do it.
You actually saw him cast a spell? And take control?
Pretty much.
When was this?
I don't know how we're gonna
breakfast.
do this.
He was trying to get us to believe that his he showed, how do you put it, carrying compassion towards his members, and they definitely didn't nod on their own free will, let's put it that way.
What I'm saying is, he's fucked up. Even for a raider, he's fucked up.
Did Powder Keg tell the rest of the party about the thing he did that happened in Powder Keg's head?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he probably, he told you all. Yeah, he did.
Powder Keg will regale Conquest with this happening, and the trap he'd set with the executive in that cave.
So, he was even then at least capable of some manipulation, but I guess it wouldn't be too far to build up from that into full-on mental control.
Take a deal with the devil, pretty soon you're pretty powerful, but he's got your soul.
Conquest shakes his head. Where in the world is he getting access to this kind of powerful magic?
The executive.
Given the circumstances, probably.
Is the executive such a powerful mage?
And the cult. The executive's in with the cult now.
Yeah,
No.
The
The
cult
executive ain't the most powerful mage you've ever seen. In fact, all I can tell, executive ain't much stronger than any pony. He's probably weaker than all four. Well, he's probably weaker than all four of the four horses, probably weaker than everyone in this tent. I think he's probably only about proficient in a firearm insofar as shooting point blank when he feels like it. He, does other things. I bet he does have some amount of mental manipulation magic. Probably strong. But I think what it really comes down to is that he knows how to plan for everything. He knows how to use every resource to his advantage, and somehow he always has enough resources.
It's one hell of a foe to take on.
Yep. But, if you go with him, you're just a throwaway tool. Like I said, he only insofar as you're useful for the current task. I think he actively cleans out house every now and then just to make sure no one knows enough about him to keep going. Figure he must have some secrets he can't let out. Otherwise, he might keep someone close. But nope, ain't never seen him with a second. Ain't never seen him with the same pony more than once.
Certainly seems to have settled down here, though. But
Indeed.
Enough of the executive. Back to Famine. Are you set on
Could we
killing him
spy
then?
on? Could we spy on him?
Spy on who? Famine?
To confirm your fears.
That would be fairly dangerous.
Well, look.
Zenkar.
Way I see it, there is no situation in which Famine does not end up fighting us eventually. But right now there's a conference going on, and we ought to respect the status quo which has been set up. So we won't go blowing them up or causing trouble. That'd be far overextending our welcome.
But what if he's
we're already
planning
decided.
something when everyone's gathered together in the meeting?
Famine takes advantage of this to
Yeah.
force the group to stay aligned with Mr. E.
Yeah. No.
No powder. We
Famine-
have subtler methods of then blowing him up if we want to take him out. Or,
Famine
spy on
has too much to gain from us trying to go against him. I don't go against the rules here. No. We're not
Point.
going to play his game.
Hey, Conquest, what exactly is defined under the terms of the peace treaty that we are and aren't allowed to do? Exactly. I find loopholes is what I do.
To threaten, bully, or otherwise, kill any other member of the Four Horses gang while while everyone is gathered.
Define threaten.
To
Hey, wait.
I
pressure.
can think of a way in which we could spy on him without being threatening.
Hey, wait. No threatening. Wouldn't that mean famine's already broken the accord?
As of this moment, there's no proof. There has to be proof of, such foul play. It can't be. We can't just be throwing around accusations.
I look at Powder. I look at Powder. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be fun.
Ready to find some proof, Zencon?
Oh, goddesses, yes. Oh God, I've been around you ponies too long.
Well, I'm very
Anna.
afraid to figure out what you're planning, but, well, I also had an idea or two.
Oh?
After all, if you're going to end up taking out famine, you're going to need to find a replacement.
Are any of those
Awesome.
replacements... I mean, what if one of them's as bad as him?
Well, to be honest, we can't know until his control is lifted from them.
Do you know any of them?
I'm familiar with most of them, and there are, as far as capability and leadership material goes, there are two that stand out. Perhaps even working together, they'd be just as good as famine alone. Let me think. One is a old unicorn stallion named Scales. He sort of serves as the judge of the famine gang. He passes judgment on disputes and whatnot in the gang. He's also, I also heard he was a fairly capable mage in his time, but, he's been pretty focused on his work since he became Famine's number 2.
And the other one?
The other one is this young unicorn mare named Locust. Very, very in touch with nature, both flora and fauna. She's just incredibly knowledgeable. And
Sounds like I need to pay her a visit anyway.
she, but again, no idea as to what her allegiances or personality might be until famine is dealt with, or you find some way to dispel the control.
Are those his only number 2s?
There are several more, but most of them just bullies or just dealers or whatever, just not nearly what I'd consider replacement material.
Any ponies in his gang that famine doesn't, how to put this, keep around as often?
None that I know personally. Certainly, I'd imagine, unless his power's grown so much that he can control pretty much every pony in his gang. I'm sure at the lowest rung there are ponies that are simply going along because they agree with Famine's personality.
Not quite what I meant there. Let me rephrase. Any ponies in his gang that famine dislikes actively?
I'm afraid I'm not that close with Famine. I wouldn't know. I think that if there was some pony that Famine didn't like in his gang, he wouldn't dislike him or have that pony in his gang for much longer.
Fair enough, but I figured, sometimes you dislike a pony, but you keep them around because they're useful.
I don't think Famine's like that.
Fair enough.
So, those would be my recommendations. Unfortunately, them being Famine's closest advisors, Famine usually keeps them pretty close, except, for when they sleep and, have to use the restroom, I suppose. And even then, that's very strictly scheduled and controlled.
Great thing
About
about
what-
Scare
I was just going to say...
means you know where everyone's going to be at what times.
I was just going to say, about what time is it, Spud, in-game?
At this time, it's about, I'd say, 4 p.m.?
Alright, so getting close to dinner time.
Yeah.
Dinner with famine.
That would be an early dinner time.
I'm getting close to 6 p.m. for dinner.
Yeah, it's...
That's my dinner
Right.
time.
So...
So what you're saying is it would be difficult to get those ponies on their own, at least while famine's around.
Yeah. My ideal scenario would be using, magic to try and dispel it, but they'd basically need to be separated from famine before you could do that. And you'd probably need the help of some of the arcanists from Death's camp.
Is there
The,
any sense?
council meeting's tomorrow, correct?
Yes,
Tomorrow morning?
The apocalypse starts tomorrow. And presumably whatever cards Famine is holding will be played then, too.
Tibbs is going to give a particularly wide grin and say, well then, if tomorrow's Judgment Day, we might as well celebrate tonight then, shouldn't we?
Conquest just quirks an eyebrow at you. I understand you've got some clever plan in mind, but would you mind sharing with the rest of the class?
Easiest way to separate Famine from his lackeys? Make a party big enough that he can't possibly keep an eye on them all.
Ooh, a party! Flotsam gets really excited, remembers the situation, and then immediately calms down again. Sorry.
I believe it was an old ministry mayor that said something along the lines of, a party you can get a lot of information out of a party.
Oh. Yeah, Pinkie Pie. She was weird.
She was fun.
Ministry stuff. Never really read much into that.
Conquest kind of
Didn't
smiles
Pinkie
a bit.
Pie turn up as the, well, actually, there are a lot of rumors about her. Never mind. Most of them to the effect of she's not actually dead and she's reigning over some insane group or
Oh,
other.
man. I'll give you that.
By the way,
ministry
we're all on the
first,
page
but-
of we're going to
Fucking weird.
separate the seconds so that we can get information from them to see if they have any proof that Famine's done this stuff, because we can't exactly kill Famine until we have proven to all the others that he did this thing.
Yes,
And at the same
until-
time, we
until
should
can
probably
sanction
have
it.
someone distract Famine so he doesn't notice. And maybe if we distract him enough, he won't be able to use his magic as well. Kind of a long shot.
When you say that, I glance down at my saddlebags again. I'm like, well, we could always just try asking him.
Flotsam grins up
No,
and
I
down.
think I know a way to distract Famine. Think he'll find it a little hard to refuse.
Oh, what, Powder? What are you doing?
Conquest kind of stomps a couple times in a rhythmic fashion, and one of the guards come in, and he says to the guard, send word to the other camps. I want to see if we can get a night of celebration started. And the guard salutes and gallops off. I like this plan. I do.
See, I have a multi-part plan for distracting Famine. See, Famine likes to treat other ponies like toys. Well, for the night, I'm gonna give him quite the game to play.
Are you going to sick default on him? Because even for us, that's a little bit mean.
Oh no, I've
I'm
been
sorry.
saving things up for a fun time. Powderkeg kind of pulls out some various implements, including somehow, where does he keep finding these? Another disco ball.
Oh, God. Really? Some of us are going to want to actually talk to him.
No, this is only part one. Trust me, there's more.
Yes, about
Sorry.
that.
See,
I'm
the
not
rest of it.
entirely sure, but I think that Igor might actually have a crush on your Distractagons, so
That's both sad and adorable, and I'm not sure which one is more.
Well,
so
I
if you're
would
going to do
advise
this,
Igor
try
not
not
to,
to destroy it immediately.
okay, I won't destroy it immediately, but I am going to advise Igor to not cuddle up to it. Powderkeg's just slightly shoving some dynamite to the side.
Why do you keep creating these things if you're just going to send them on suicide missions? Do you have no
Because-
respect for your creations?
Nope, not
Because
really.
he reses them.
Ponies, please.
Sorry.
You can
Freeze.
you're free to scheme, but I think
Should,
our business is done.
Yeah, maybe we should go.
No, of course.
Just try to isolate Scales and Locust, see if they're suitable candidates, see if you can get some proof. And then when you have it, we'll take down Famine and put an end to this internal strife once and for all.
Tibbs is going to take a moment and then go, who's to say we even have to be the ones to do it?
What?
Fair point.
Fair
What have you got in mind?
We've got to, well, presuming we can at least get rid of the magic that's keeping them in line. We've got two ponies who may be more than interested in taking over leadership from the man from the stallion who's been locking them
controlling
up inside their own heads.
That was my hope as well, that whatever personality is buried under Famine's control, it's one that's both helpful and vengeful.
Oh, it's the wasteland. Everyone out here is vengeful.
Yes, but hoping
sure
it's also, will be positive for the gang. I do not wish to destroy Famine's gang. I don't think we could survive as the Three Horses, especially with their, knowledge of the land. But
Nah, it's not nearly as catchy.
of course.
Can't sell a thing like that.
At this point, I think I can trust you to just do your thing your way without stepping on too many hooves. Am I right?
Flotsam just stares. Just kind of... I will never get used to hearing people use the T word with us.
Well, trust you as far as I can throw you, at the very least.
Flotsam shoots up her hoof. I can be thrown really far. Then she flaps her wings.
And I'm counting on that.
Tibbs is going to raise up his own hoop. You took over War's position, mate. I'm fairly certain you could throw any of us really far.
All right.
Well, thanks very much for your time again.
I'll organize the Night of Levity. I'm pretty sure Death and Pestilence won't mind. And I'm sure even Famine with his attitude won't mind that at all.
Would any of the foals be there? Maybe it would be a bit too late.
I'm sure an exception could be made. It's not like the foals are particularly interested in 4 old ponies hashing it out anyway.
You never know.
Even though this does concern their future.
Yeah, it is their future.
Anyway, so yes, Conquest basically dismisses you from his presence.
Before the group leaves, Tibbs is going to bow his head towards Conquest, and then as his head's lowered, he's going to say, sorry, I got something in my throat. You'll do well, mate. They picked a good replacement.
I certainly hope so. It's a lot to live up to.
Sure.
I'll get used to it.
All right, so now do you leave?
Yep, we're gone.
All right.
No, we just stand in his tent, just idling for like 5 minutes.
So at this point, you're free to basically head back to your tent, where Aurelia's still just kind of keeping watch. Unless you want to head somewhere else first, but at this point, you should probably devote your time to scheming. Make sure you get your plans straight.
Can I just check real quick, Spud? Were you keeping tabs on the mental conversations Enkarn and I were having? Enkarn and Flotsam were having?
Right, so here's my plan. Step 1.
I'm reading it now.
Oh, thank you.
Step 1. Talk to Famine. Step 2. Convince Famine to engage in some sort of competition. Drinking if I can get him to agree to it, but probably going to be something else. Step 3. Distractagon, which I have cleverly set up, heads towards his tent. It'll be flying above his tent enough that the explosion will not actually harm his tent, but it'll make a lot of noise over by his tent. He might not like that very much. You might want to check on it.
Wait, I thought the point was to get the second in commands away from
Tibbs is going to raise a hoof. Yeah, and if something like that happens, who do you think you think he's going to go to it alone? That's a sure sign of a trap. He's going to take his seconds. The competition alone should be enough to distract him while we separate the others.
Aurelia perks her head up. Competition? You guys planning something?
Oh yeah.
Us?
We're gonna prove that Famine's two-timing and being a sheet and being a dick behind the back of all the other 4 horses.
Well, sounds fun. Aurelia just goes back to writing in this notebook.
Is Chica around as well? Or?
Chica's also around, yeah. She was just kind of exploring around the camp in various forms.
Well, it would have to be something that we know he cannot do, but that he does not know he cannot do.
Well,
or at least something that can be maintained for a long time.
Oh, right. No, sorry, go ahead.
Tibbs is going to say, so who's going after which one? I feel like I should go after Flora, because I have some other pressing questions I need to ask her.
It's
Locust, not Flora. I don't know why I said Flora.
Scales and Locust.
Yeah,
I'd like to talk to Locust too.
I'll go after Scales. I think he's probably, if he's the decision maker, he's probably in deeper than Locust is.
Can't believe I'm saying this, but, Javol, I think you would be most useful in distracting somebody.
Oh, and who am I? Wait, what?
Basically, hey Javol, do you want to go talk to Famine?
Well, on the one hand, I don't think he'd have anything useful to talk about. But on the other hand, no, I can't really think of any reason to talk to him.
Are you saying you can't help distract?
Oh, I could, I suppose.
As
if you
Shrink
really
says,
think
Famine
that's
said that
the
science
use
sucks.
of my talents.
You know what, actually, Powder Keg is just gonna tap Javolt on the shoulder, and he's just gonna whisper in Javolt's ear. Famine said, science is retarded and only used by morons, and also that you should never use it, ever, on the magic.
Revolt is going to give him a luck.
Not my words, Famine's.
Revolt is going to give him a longer luck.
Tibbs is going to turn to Powder Keg and go, "Really, mate? You said that? So he's still holding that opinion?"
Powder Keg.
Revolt is going to turn to Tibbs and say, I didn't know you had promised to be one of Powder Keg's bridesmaids.
Powder Keg looks at Javolt and says, "We're telling you things he actually said. And also, no, that fucker won't even be at my wedding."
Tibbs
like a
He's
is
going
going
to break in anyway. We all know this. He's going to
Aurelia puts a
crash the party. Or whatever.
Aurelia
It's fault.
puts a hand next to her mouth and not whispers, "Psst, I don't think he's buying it."
Tibbs is going to take a moment to be calm, walk up to Javolt, put him in a headlock, and say, "How about this? You do what Powder Keg says, you help us distract Famine, and I don't rip out your windpipe."
I Tibbs
Tibbs.
the body.
Tibbs.
See, that really doesn't work, because
Tibbs
if
is
you
going
disagree,
to
you're
squeeze.
going to have to find... If I disagree, you're going to have to find someone else to distract him, and that's a waste of time, and we both know you don't want that.
Oh, Powder Keg will have an easy distraction, throwing a donkey corpse at him.
Hey, I told Dibs on that corpse.
Look,
That
I
only
have to admit, it
takes
would be
2
rather fun to throw a
seconds.
donkey corpse at Famine. You know, just throw
Guys,
the
I
corpse at
told
Famine
you
and say, "Dine up." No, food joke.
look, I know Javolt can be an irritating moron at times, but I'm not going to let you guys just kill him.
Irritating, I'll grant you. Moron, no.
Yeah, it's not.
Very well, I'll talk to Famine. I'll need some subject matter, though.
Science.
Yeah, talk about
Talk to him about science like he talked to us. If he has any sense of annoyance, he'll be about as annoyed as I am every time.
Or alternatively, you could talk with him about psychology and see if you can't get a good laugh out of him from that.
Psychology is also science. One of the softer sciences, but...
It's out of character.
Tibbs will let go and pat Javolt on the head.
Chica just kind of raises her changeling hoof and says, "You want me to help out with this?"
You know.
Actually...
Hey, wait a second.
Well,
Going about this the wrong way. We need a distraction for Famine, right? You
Right.
know who's really distracting? One of the other 4 horses.
I was gonna say flaunting the books, but I mean, you worked. I guess that works too.
And guess who's basically, well, sort of
Chica
on our
just-
side in this?
Chica just raises, her brow raises, and she says, "You really want me to impersonate one of the 4 horses
No.
in the 4 horses camp?"
Nope. I want to go talk to Death.
Yeah, if you're gonna do that, I need to have a quick word with you before you do. Privately.
Tibbs will turn to Chica and go, "That said, you would most assuredly be a help if you could impersonate his lackeys while we separate. Just in case he might suspect something."
Actually, I was going to
if you
ask her
want
to
to.
do a song and dance number with me about science, since you clearly want me to be distracting.
Those both sound equally terrible.
Tibbs will shrug.
You think I don't know if he might notice if I'm not exactly under his mental control, if that's what we're dealing with here.
Yep, that's
Well,
what I was about
actually,
to say.
It would probably, I'd turn to Chico, and I'm like, oh, it would probably, if you don't mind, be probably the biggest help if you were just a normal raider wandering around. At least then you can tip us off if any form of mental magic is being, directly used, if you know what I mean.
So I can just watch and observe.
If that's okay.
No, that works just fine.
Cool. Thank you.
Doesn't mean I'm not directly in the middle of all the potentially really gory action this time.
Sorry about that.
Not that big a deal, it's the wasteland. Aurelia raises a claw and says, "Am I still on tent watching duty?"
No, I think if you want to come to the party, no one's going to stop you.
Alright. Well, but what if the tent gets trapped and stuff?
We'll figure it out when we get back.
So I can go to the party?
Yes, you can go to the party.
Yes! Gonna eat all the meat.
Well,
Sheikah looks at the group and says, "So what exactly is the plan? Because I think we've had a bunch of ideas and we're not sure what everybody's doing."
Well, if
I get the
going to distract Famine, then while Famine is distracted, we're going to do our best to separate him from his seconds. Once we've got his seconds separated, we're going to try to bring them somewhere where we can get their minds basically detoxed and find out what they really think. And also if they have any information on what Famine is doing.
That's pretty general. Do you have any specifics on who, what, and where, and when?
Yep. At the party, we're distracting Famine. We already decided who's going for what. And we know exactly which ponies we're aiming for, too.
So what are, say, Tempered Steel, and Dr. Tibbs, and Flotsam, and,
Well, I'm pretty sure Tibbs and Flotsam said they wanted to go talk to,
Locust.
What's her name?
We're going to take
Locust.
care of Locust.
I'll go talk to Scales.
And where are you gonna take them so that, you can remove the control?
It's going to be largely dependent on where
we did
Famine
get
ends
told.
up. But
We did get told they had scheduled bathroom breaks.
Are you certain you'll be able to break their control?
I'd love to test it first, but there's a good chance.
Test, you say?
Yeah. I give Chica a look, and I'm like, you couldn't pull off a facsimile of that, could you?
Maybe.
Maybe?
Maybe. I need a volunteer.
Tibbs will sigh and raise his hoof.
Yes! I mean, yay!
Alright, Tibbs, coming up.
Tibbs will walk over and sit down next to Chica.
Now, I haven't done this in a while, but what Famine's doing is a bit stronger version of, more forceful version of what we do, so let me see if I've still got it. And she goes for it. Oh my. Tibbs, as her horn glows and you stare into her eyes, and your eyes start to glow the same sort of unearthly green, you find that you almost instantly have no will to do anything but what Chica wants you to do.
Oh, God.
Mostly because you weren't really trying to resist it, but also because that her magic turned out a lot stronger than expected. Almost instantly, you are her thrall.
Hooray.
Now we can make him do all kinds of fun things.
Chica looks to you and says, "That was faster than I expected. Try to break it."
First, alright, okay. I might try and get him just to tell us something that he wouldn't. What would Tibbs lie about that we want to know the truth of?
Son of a bitch.
Just have him tell us his deepest, darkest secret.
Yeah, alright.
Chica shakes her hoof and then,
I'm trying to test out an artifact here, or I'm not just being a dick. Promise. But just something basic that he wouldn't normally, tell us. Any ideas?
Chica just leans over to Tibbs and whispers something into his ear, and then turns to you and says, Tibbs is not allowed to tell you the color I just told him.
Okay. Arcana check?
Yes.
Alright. If I channel this... I'm guessing this wouldn't be... soul stuff, yes, no.
You can make it soul stuff.
Alright, if I make it soul stuff and I use the thing, any straight up stuff, or is that all hidden bonuses, potentially?
That's hidden bonuses.
Cool. Alright, just need to know if I needed to type in any other numbers. Lapis, be ready with reroll stuff. Never mind, natural 20.
Oh my.
I'm sorry. Cutie mark critical, if that helps.
Well, damn.
And it'll never come out when I need it.
With that amazing success, plus Death's totem helping you compel a fellow pony to tell the truth. Tibbs, you find that independent of your thraldom to Chica, you find yourself compelled to tell Zenkarn the answer to the question he wants.
Violet.
That is correct. However, you notice that unfortunately Tibbs is still under Chica's thrall.
Alright.
It seems that the soul magic alone does not really break it, but does assume control momentarily.
Okay. Can I just roll?
However, with that natural freaking Q mark success, your magic did interact with the mind magic enough that you did get sort of a sense for it. And if you actually just went at it directly, you might be able to try and weaken it or dispel it entirely.
Alright, I'll give that a go if I may.
Alright.
26, wow, that's terrible.
Yeah, Tibbs, you feel some of your mind returning, but it's only for a flickering moment before eventually you sink back down again.
Damn it.
Goodness.
This might be a good time to mention that at least one of you ponies has the loyalty,
Yeah, but that's boring. That's boring, Spud.
How many times a day can it be used?
I think it's a magic point skill.
It is
Yeah.
a magic point, which is why Powder Keg is not the one. Powder Keg is like, look, I could break this in a second. I know a good spell for it, but
Flotsam can do it. She has loyalty.
But if you're off
Blossom can do it.
distracting...
I guess if I'm distracting Famine, Powder Keg just smacks Tib upside the head and says, "Be yourself, you dummy."
Well,
magic point.
Really?
Well, the problem with that is... I guess I know I can technically break it now. Just have to roll that shit. Fair enough.
Or get some help.
Flotsam will be talking to a different one than Zenkarn, so that way Zenkarn can do his magic stuff, and then Flotsam can just,
loyalty the other one.
But anyway, so what
wait,
does Tibbs kind of do when Powder Keg smacks him?
What?
Drugs. Problem solved.
What? No, wait.
Who's the DM here?
Did I mention at any point you could probably get some help for this?
Yeah, I
Once.
could. But I could also just make my roll higher. It's fine.
I have a question. I mean, I'm technically under thrall, but would there be like resistance rolls?
If you wanted to make an effort to resist it, you could.
But
Okay.
hey, he's not thralled anymore. Powder Keg just smacked him upside the head and said,
Be yourself, stupid, yeah. Alright, so you spend a magic point and use the loyalty skill, and
And we hope that doesn't have to come up again.
And now Tibbs is himself, but stupid.
Loyalty is you're also immune for the next 24 hours or something like that?
yeah,
Are you trying to make it so you hit everybody in the tent with that?
yeah. Everybody's immune for the next. I think it's only 5 minutes though, so it's not really a big.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Well then. Okay.
That's why I said. And I
That's
hope-
another reason why I was trying to break it on my own.
Is it possible that Zenkarn could have picked up, since it was in fact stated to be a spell, that he could analyze it to get a little more of a bonus the next time he rolls?
Yeah. You can.
Would I have to roll an analysis?
Well, that's
check
kind
that?
of what the purpose of the second Arcana check was, both
Okay.
for breaking it and to really figure out with directly interacting with it. So yeah, you're a bit more familiar with it now.
out of curiosity, this is a question just in case. What would I have to roll if I was resisting?
That's a good question.
This is why we added defense skills in the next one. If it were in the newer version, I would say roll will, because, will.
Yeah, will defense is pretty, no arguments there. I'd say probably either Arcana, or if that's not your strongest suit, probably Endurance, or some kind of horse sense.
Okay, one of those three?
Like it'd be a pretty good one.
Okay.
To endure against it.
Yeah.
All right. Reason I was asking was for potential. You know what? I'm just gonna. I'll just roleplay this. Tibbs is going after breaking out of the thraldom. He's going to shake. He's not going to do anything to Powder Keg because, quite frankly, the thraldom thing freaked him out.
I imagine it would have been kind of freaky. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's going to walk to Zenkarn. He's going to reach into his saddlebags and pull out a tin of party time Mentals, hand him to the zebra, and say,
I came back and all I heard was party time Mentals, and I am entirely okay with this.
Tibbs is flat out giving you a tin of party time Mentals.
Yes! Free drugs!
And he's going to say, these are for scales in case your little magic trick doesn't work like it did here. Might help him resist.
Emergency use then. Can do.
Emergency use only. If I find that this tin has been used and you haven't gotten anything, I will wear you as a coat. Are we clear?
Do you have any threats that
I would make a very nice coat.
I mean, this is getting to be rather tedious. You threaten to kill someone in some dramatic way, and honestly...
Well, if you'd prefer to have your Achilles tendons ripped out as I drag you across the mall.
See,
Man, last time
then I
you
would be allowed to suffer. That's a little more creative.
Good grief, guys.
But yeah, no, I'll take the drugs off him.
Try and stop all that stuff from happening.
Tibbs is just going to roll his eyes and...
I'll take the drugs and just be like, okay, but I may take them just as a magic boost. Just a warning.
As long as you get results, apparently.
Tibbs is
what you
going
get
to...
addicted to, just get me answers.
Tibbs is going to rub his forehead and say, I'm going to have to prepare a lot of stuff for this. Just to prevent addiction.
Social link, go.
No. This does not
Social
advance
link.
your social link with Tibbs.
Tibbs social link. Let's be honest, I don't think anyone's really advanced. The only one who's really advanced anywhere in Tibbs social link is Flotsam.
Pretty much.
Flotsam's going for like max out with everybody anyway.
She's going for the
You will
gold.
now die for me.
Powder Keg found Blinky and was like, fuck the rest of these social links, I just want a girlfriend.
We're all playing Persona in a different way. And Senkarn's like, I'm grinding. What are you talking about? Grind every day.
Oh, goodness.
Okay. Anyway, that was a weird tangent.
That was it.
So, is that the basics of the plan? You guys ready to go?
I think we are super ready to go, because it's not going to get any more sensible than it is right now.
It can only go downhill from here.
It's gotten
I'm
quite
afraid
late. Are we going to have time to finish out the plan?
I think...
I was.
Do we want to make the next session just the night
plan.
before
Party.
Apocalypse? The party. And, and probably the confrontation with famine that results in
I think, it's getting late, and I kind of want to do the whole party and plan in one shot. We're not going to have time if we try to do it tonight, because it's going to go...
I was thinking might get through at least part of it, but yeah, you're probably right.
Maybe get to the opening? Or is that... No.
Well, I mean, we can end on the opening. Basically, a couple hours pass, and true to Conquest's word, the entire camp is now wrapped up in a fervor just drinking and eating and basically partying across the entire camp. All 4 gangs have come together to sing and dance and just generally live it up on this last night before Apocalypse. And this will be the night where you enact your plan to hopefully take out famine once and for all.
Cool. I have the greatest line to end on. Well, I mean, I like this line to end on. So, as soon as we're, out and about in the party, Powder Keg is going to walk up to Famine, and he's like, "Tomorrow's Judgment Day. Things will happen, I'm sure. We've both got our plans in motion. But for one night, what do you say, for the irony of it, you and me, worst enemies, party together?"
Famine just rolls his eyes and says, "Oh, all right."
In the
Good.
distance.
I think this is gonna be fun.
I think that's where we're gonna end it a little bit early for tonight.
I now kind of want to end it with Zencom pouring a thing of Party Time Mentos into a punch bowl, though.
Oh, boy.
They don't really dissolve like that.
Stop killing my hopes and dreams, bud.
And besides, all that would do was make everybody suddenly more knowledgeable and more charismatic. Like everyone in the entire camp.
I'm okay with this.
Which means basically you've just got a bunch of smart-talking know-it-alls at the party over the entire party.
So my type of people.
Sorry,
Meanwhile,
And besides the punch bowl is being very closely guarded.
Yeah.
It hasn't been spiked by the people guarding it.
It has been spiked by the people guarding it. They're raiders.
Yeah. That's true.
Meanwhile, Tempered Steel is going to eventually join in with one of the dance groups or when the dances are happening and just start doing the Minotaur Shuffle.
Which I imagine, I can't help but get the mental image of Commander Shepard's little shuffling dance there.
No, not that actually.
For me, it's the hustle. The hustle is what's coming to my mind. For a multitude of reasons.
No, it's you might want to mute before you click on those links though. Just
Oh god.
They're
the same thing, just different music.
Anyway, I think before we get carried away in the party shenanigans, I'm not clicking on a link because, I'm recording and all. And I don't think my sound's balanced to start playing a song at this time, but, yeah, that's our session for tonight.
Devolved is at the DJ table.
There is no DJ table, it's post-apocalypse!
Devolved.
Hey, they could have scavenged one out of a
And now
vault
he's at it.
thing.
I will use the fabricate ability to have Devolve make a DJ table.
Out of what?
Out of what?
There's not enough scrap metal to go around that isn't already in use.
You guys might want to sign off before this goes any further.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do
let's
you
do the
really
sign
want
off.
to know how Devolve made the DJ table?
Out of
wanna
what?
do
Next week, we'll
Out
find
of
out
what?
how Devolve made a DJ table.
If he did.
What
This
what
has
did you
been
do?
Fallout
Master Weaver.
is Dragons.
No, I need this resolved. Just
Do you?
I
do. You
do.
really?
Did you in fact made a DJ table? Out of what? Playing what and how?
The DJ table was made out of dishes, some pre-war electronics, and a lot of wood. And it's playing...
Love your plan. What did you make the speakers out of?
He's got Igor hooked up to it.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's okay. Yep. No, that's the best image ever.
Igor is
So-
also doubling as a disco ball.
You
Alright,
basically
so let's do
made
the
a
sign
DJ
out.
table out of the kitchen sink.
Yes.
All right.
No wonder the music sounds like
All right,
shit.
I'm satisfied. Do the sign off.
This has been Fallout.
Stop it.
We're doing the sign off, or
Yeah,
No,
the regular
no.
people do the sign off, please. No more dubstep.
This has been Fallout is Dragons.
Join us next week when the conclusion to 3 sessions of peaceful negotiations with enemies culminates in a bloodbath.